Hello, very beautiful community. Trump's Iran address was 19 minutes long. I watched it basically live. It was the middle of the night here in the UK. And I want to give you a bit of a reaction. I've pre-penned a short Substack set of points about it. And I'll use these in chatting with your beautiful community. But I don't want to just read that because I kind of want to emote about it with you. It was bad. It was almost health event level bad, even though there wasn't a health event. And by health event, I mean the kind of public calamity that happened to Joe Biden when he lost the debate to Trump, completely losing his way and then getting stuck and trying to come out and getting stuck and trying to come out and then saying, we've got to fix Medicare. Oh no, we've got to beat Medicare. And Trump said, well, he sure did beat Medicare. So nothing like that happened, but it was a very, very new level of unhinged because of the combination of two things. The formality and prime time and pre-planned and worked over nature of the speech, and the fact that the speech was worse than a bunch of Truth Social posts, because it was like a kind of a porridge of Truth Social posts, the most deranged ones, put together into a 19-minute continuous diatribe. So let's talk about this. Now, the fact that the speech took place is itself a sign of declining state capacity. Because it's completely extraordinary and very internationally embarrassing. And I feel, as a sort of citizen of the West, don't believe much in cosmopolitan statements because there isn't much politics behind them. But as a sort of citizen of the West, I'm embarrassed by that speech because it's not something that Trump just riffed. The speech was worked on in some capacity by senior officials. And I'm going to read to you the top line of what the content of it was. So it was a kind of a porridge of post-truth that made the following points. Trump wants to fight for another 2 to 3 weeks. Other powers must open the Strait of Hormuz. And he discussed it in the most sort of revolting way, like he was in the like in the changing room of the models in these competitions, making unsavory, lecherous comments. He said, "Cherish it and grab it." The Strait of Hormuz, and then he said, having said that other powers must open the Strait of Hormuz, he said they don't need to open it because it'll open up naturally. That's a quote, open up naturally when the war is over. Then he said, and this is a quote, we're going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants if they don't make a deal. Then he said, quote again, we're there to help. And then he said we're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages. So, a kind of a porridge of impulsive Truth Social posts somehow concentrated into a pre-planned 19-minute long presentation. Now, what I am hearing and what I am hearing others hearing is that the speech alarmed US allies or US former allies, help allowing a new main channel video on that new transitional distinction. There's a lot of allies of the US historically are no longer feeling like they're allies. But why are folks alarmed? Because Trump says unhinged stuff all the time. it's because this was planned, anticipated, and prepared, and was set up as a kind of prime time explanation and update as we are, into the going into the second month of the war, of what the hell is happening, what to expect, what not to expect. And yet, this much anticipated event was worse than a bad Truth Social post. And it just, made plain to the world that the Trump administration is displaying, as I put it in my notes, a kind of a level of incompetence that you'd hesitate to tolerate in a provincial tire depot, let alone a nuclear power. There is a difference between Trump just speaking and Trump just posting, and the Trump administration saying that it's going to be a very important speech and it's coming at that time and it'll clarify exactly what we're doing, what's going to happen next, what this is all about, what the point is of the sacrifices that folks are making in the United States and in Western countries. I mean, most people watching this have already been in some way economically affected by what's happening. And that was the setup. And then the result is a sort of worst of all worlds weave of some of his worst hypothetical and also actual post-truth, Truth Social posts. Now, here is a big procedural democratic takeaway. And that's that the speech like this is a new low for Trump because of the combination of the formality and the debasement of it. It sort of brings into view a collapse of presidential speech as a political institution. And so political language is itself an instrument of governance. It's not just a way of sort of commenting on action. It's a mode of political action itself, especially in times of crisis. And presidential speech in particular is a very important political institution that helps keep democracy on the road. And we are now living in the United States, you are now living, if you're US citizens, through its deinstitutionalization. And what that means is not that Trump is the president and is saying unhinged and disinhibited things. It's that he is degrading the institution of presidential speech for future presidents to come, no matter their political affiliation, no matter their level of adequacy and capacity to be civilized by the office, no matter their sense of political responsibility. So what this is doing is bringing it about that future presidents, no matter how responsible they are, will inevitably sound like noise makers or sort of generators of entertainment when they speak. So it kind of is creating this sort of, fish in your aquarium effect that future leaders are going to open their mouth, nothing is going to come out. It's not going to feel like anything comes out, even if good stuff comes out, because that institution of presidential speech has been decapitated. And that's a very grave and indeed existential harm to democracy's central function of explaining itself to itself, of talking to itself. So that's really, really toxic. Really, really toxic. And the fact that this speech didn't moderate any of this. The only thing that was moderated in it was that Trump didn't threaten NATO there at all. That was just omitted. Well, maybe somebody just took that out or persuaded Trump not to talk about that. But short of that, it was a sort of a maximally unhinged assembly of Trump's most deranged social posts. And that's kind of new. We haven't had that level of combination of derangement and formality before. And so it's just very damaging. There is now a good side to it. It's a very small good side. And that's that for a general audience that doesn't follow social media, it's clear that Trump says deranged stuff all the time, and his supporters themselves understand that. But it might slightly hurt him with a national audience that's unaccustomed to quite that degree, that new degree of not just online derangements, but a kind of a concentration of the online derangement into a 19-minute uninterrupted dose of it. Because for all of the fact that we're living in a post-truth society, even Trump supporters wanted to hear something about what this was all about. Because there is a perception of impact and sacrifice for it. And so they were kind of wanted to hear something. And there was no attempt to do that. And moreover, all of the unhinged stuff, grab the straight by the, don't grab it, it'll open itself by itself, we'll put you into the Stone Age, we're here to help. All of that wasn't done in the calculated way other authoritarian regimes do this to sort of convert you into a sort of an apathetic consumer by making you feel political speech has ceased to make sense. That wasn't strategic. It was just because Trump's not got much control over his brain. There is no strategy in this post-truth communication. It's not designed to achieve a political effect. And so there's a kind of a double calamity here. It's not just that the war is a calamity, it's that the speech about the war is a calamity because the speech is so transparently not serving Trump in any way. It's not designed to serve Trump in any way. It's not designed to be efficacious as a non-post-truth or a post-truth cover for the war he is doing. It's just a sort of an excretion of random shit happening in Trump's brain that has somehow got formalized into a 19-minute speech by his administration. And that's a new low. And it comes with that feeling of being stuck and helplessness and impotence that captures not just Trump's relationship to this war that he started and he now is stuck in, but it sort of applies to the speech itself. Like, we're not going to do anything with that speech. We're just going to sort of emit things. We're just going to register various emittances and excretions from Trump's mind over which he doesn't have much control. And the fact that that wasn't filtered or edited or moderated in any way, except for the omission of the possible attack on NATO that Trump would have made, is a kind of new low when you think about the build-up to this speech and the fact that this was meant to be a significant event. The world was watching. And so what's scary to allies about this isn't that Trump is now a sort of enemy within to a degree. He's inside your house because of the complex interpenetration of European powers and the United States militarily and in other ways. It's just that there's this ludicrous incompetence there and a ludicrous absence of any desire to cover it up or of any capacity any application of willpower to the purpose of covering it up. And that's why I say that it's sort of on the level of a health event, how bad that speech was. Because even by the standards of this administration, this went further than I think most people expected it, further down than most people expected it to go. And I'm really sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. So what does that mean? It means that responsible political forces have to get their shit together, and stop just being spectators. And that's an important topic for us to continue engaging with. Lots of love.